it's update day, and today ended up getting an update for Vanguard and Warzone, and while we may see some smaller things in terms of changes overall and what's listed for patch notes and everything, there's actually some decently large gameplay implications that these changes across Warzone, and then, as we'll talk about a little later on in the video, some stuff that we saw change in Vanguard a couple of days ago that have changed for the hopefully better in terms of gameplay experience across both games. So that said, as we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of these changes? Good, bad, whatever the case, drop it down below. But if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on the video, and if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Vanguard, Warzone, and anything Call of Duty related. I think with a little bit of a slow period here in Call of Duty as of lately, we're gonna start expanding into some longer form expose style content, taking a look at some cool concepts and topics within COD, a bit more produced content, so hopefully you enjoy what we have coming up on deck as well. But anyways, finally, if you'd like to also support the channel a little further, an entirely optional way to do so is by using code ESPRESSO in the in-game shop with the support a creator function. It's an entirely optional way to do so, so do not ever feel pressured to use it, but if you ever do, tweet me a picture. I'd love to shout out some of your generous support in upcoming videos. That said, let's jump into it. So as of today's update, let's start out with the more minor things here, the things that we see change every Thursday, those being the playlist. Now, on the Vanguard side of things, we have Overclock Tactical, which is a combination of increased health and no kill streaks, Trifecta Mosh Pit, which is Desert Siege, Bocage, and Red Star this time around, Large Zone Blitz, and Champion Hill Trios on top of your other standard modes you'll see in the regular quick play filter and elsewhere. As for the Warzone side of things, we end up seeing BR, solos, duos, and trios re-added into the fold here, so that we end up having solos, duos, trios, and quads. We have Vanguard Plunder quads added in, but removed as of today was Vanguard Royale, solos, duos, and trios, as well as traditional Plunder quads. So on deck, you'll end up having Vanguard Royale quads, Battle Royale, traditional, solos, duo, trios, and quads, Vanguard Plunder in quads, Clash 50v50, then you'll have Rebirth, Resurgence, duos, trios, and quads. Now, Warzone, though, in the sense of the new playlist update, isn't the only stuff that we saw change within Warzone as of today. Some of the stuff we'll talk about here for Vanguard happened a couple of days ago, but what happened with Vanguard today comes down to a couple of different new key features and also some changes to a little bit of some busted weaponry. In terms of gameplay features and adjustments, they updated contract distribution in Battle Royale, Vanguard Royale, and Plunder modes to better favor bounties. They also changed some of the loadouts for the Gulag, in which they removed stun grenades and then also added gas grenades, medical syringes, and thermites. Now, on top of this, they also finally introduced the armored transports that will roam around Caldera. Now, these are things that are armored. They will shoot back at you if you end up getting close enough, and if you end up taking one out, you can end up getting a plethora of different loot, including things like stopping power, finally making a return here after being removed since Caldera's launch. You can end up getting the new PDS device, and also you can end up getting a Nebula 5 bomb, which is kind of curious because it seemed like these weren't going to be rolled out until as of next week, starting on March 3rd, but these are something that are seen right now within Caldera, and, well, if you guys haven't seen this, it is basically like we saw with the zombies outbreak regions within Verdansk, where instead it's initiated by a detonated bomb, where it comes up with the sort of nuke icon that will have a countdown timer to when this explodes. Once it does, it will have that gas radius that you can't actually go into. It'll start to do damage, and then also it will then grow like those outbreak regions did in Verdansk. So these are going to be a huge pain to deal with if you ask me, and they're going to change a lot of the landscape of how we end up seeing Caldera and everything work out here with this. Now, right now it's not clarified if we'll see these things continue on after the search and deploy sort of seasonal event here happens. We have a couple of weeks left on that. It was 30 days on the season whenever that started, so going until the midpoint here. So we'll see if these Nebula 5 bombs are something we have to deal with continuing on going forward, but for the time being, it might change a little bit of how you approach the game. Now, outside of that, though, we did see some slight weapon tuning here for the Vanguard PPSH 41. If you guys had not realized this was something that was busted, a lot of people were using this, and you might have wondered why, but the neck damage multiplier was increased to 1.3, which is up from 1.1, which may seem like a buff, but whenever you consider it, they also added in a bug fix that fixed an issue causing higher than intended maximum, mid, and minimum damage values for the PPSH 41. So you were absolutely shredding through people with the PPSH. Right now, it might not necessarily be a top SMG anymore. We'll have to see how everything works out, but it was adjusted, it was tuned so that it's not broken to the extent that it was. Now, the Bren, that's still another one that got another stealth buff, but That hasn't been fixed since, so you're probably still going to see a lot of those out there in the battlefield. But that said, that is the changes here for Warzone's update as of today. But then we can start to sort of come back to retroactively talking about an update for Vanguard a couple of days ago that changed quite a bit. Now, the MP40 was something that ended up getting adjusted in terms of some tuning, in which the damage range was adjusted, decreasing it by a few meters. So you may notice a difference, you may not, but in terms of Vanguard's MP, the MP40 is now a little bit more in line with the balance of other SMG tuning. Now, other weapons were fixed up, but not really in the way of anything outside of just bug fixes. Coming to the MP40 rune blueprint that will now show tracer rounds as intended. The well gun addressed an issue which prevented it to be unlocked via MP or zombies progression. The Gorenko anti-tank rifle had a bug resulting in atomic being, I assume, prematurely equipped, and some things like that, though I'd seen a lot of people mention that as of the Season 2 update, the long shots weren't tracking properly on snipers. So fingers crossed that was fixed out since then. We haven't seen anything officially confirming or denying that just yet, but kill streaks were also on tap for some adjustments in terms of some bug fixes, but also some outright adjustments to balancing as of this update a couple of days ago. For the balancing stuff, things planned and not just reacting to needing a fix, the spy plane is now described as entering and exiting the play space significantly faster, making it more vulnerable to being destroyed. Now, this is something that my friend Exclusive Ace ended up going into a little bit more detail with over in a video that he talked about on his channel a couple of days ago. But pre-patch, the problem with spy planes and other items when going for destroys is that you had two variable speeds at the spy planes, and as we'll mention in a second, the counter spy planes. They'd fly in at a different speed and then eventually dip their wings down and slow down as they're rotating around the map. But that slowdown would be your sort of ideal time in which you'd shoot things down. And pre-patch, the faster velocity fly-in lasted about 25 seconds. You'd then dip towards the map in that preferred window and only have 15 seconds. And then after that, you'd have another roughly 20 seconds where it flies out at a higher velocity. So a full minute of streak, but you had only 15-ish seconds to take it out. After the update, though, the spy plane was changed so that the higher velocity fly-in is now shortened to 12.5 seconds. The preferred window of time now is roughly 30 seconds, and then an exfil time at a higher velocity is once again 17.5 seconds. So you have way more time now after this update to give you better opportunities to take out those streaks if you're still going for challenges. The same sort of adjustment was made for the counter spy plane as well, but it's actually a little bit more in depth with this, where the previous preferred window of time to shoot things down was only 10 seconds. After this update, it's now 27 seconds, so a lot more time to work with here in trying to shoot down those counter spy planes as well. Now, also in the category of streak adjustments, the bombing run had improvements to the flight path logic to avoid damaging the player who called it in, which is definitely nice because I haven't used it recently, but I know the first few weeks of Vanguard, whenever I was running it, I remember I'd get killed by it more than I ended up getting kills from it. So incredibly happy to hear about this one. And the attack dogs also had some further audio cues to alert players of when they're in their vicinity, which is definitely nice. We've already heard the barks, but even with studio quality headsets, sometimes it was deceiving in terms of audio, or the environmental occlusion could throw things off. So it'd be tough to track that even before this update with, again, the best headsets out there. But for those playing on TV speakers, you probably would have had an even worse time trying to track where they are, so this should hopefully make things a little bit better. Now, in terms of further streak fixes, there were some bug fixes in which the counter spy plane, which is a 4 kill streak, bear in mind, no longer prevents the V2 rocket, a 25 kill streak, from being used. This one, I generally don't think this was ever meant to be a thing, but I'd kind of wager that out of the millions and millions of tracked data points, the amount of players getting V2s compared to anything else being tracked was so minuscule, and then to top it off, to try and call it in when a counter spy plane is up, I'd wager this took just a ton of time to be able to, like, oh, that probably shouldn't happen, to the people that can actually change it. I mean, even me, who plays the game as their job, only heard about whispers of this being a thing, and I probably have a dozen or so V2s under my belt that I've never even had a chance to call one with a counter up. So if I'm guessing, this finally made it to who needed to hear it, and that's why the change was made. A damn good change in my opinion, but that then leads me to the next part. If anybody at Sledge may be listening, this counter spy plane still applies to bombing runs and your own counter spy planes. I get not allowing players to call in their radars, spy planes, or local informants while this is up so that you don't burn a 3, 4, or 12 kill streak, but I mean, a bombing run or throwing your own counter UAV seems to be an illogical bug here, if you ask me. But anyways, that's my formal pitch to get that fixed as well. But that's the update for as of today and as of the last couple of days between Warzone and Vanguard. So leave your thoughts down below. Is there anything in particular you liked out of these changes as of lately? Anything you're looking forward to? Anything you hope to see changed in the near future? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button to stay updated with all things Vanguard, Warzone, and anything Call of Duty related. But that said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.